Hey guys, Mr. Jalapeno here, and on today's project, the customer called me to see if I could come and paint some siding that got replaced a couple days ago. So I'm just going to show you step by step on what I did to complete this job. Unfortunately, they did not have the paint, so I had to go get a color match. This is how it looked before I started painting, and you can obviously see which ones got replaced here. And if you get any value from this video, don't forget to follow for more Mr. Jalapeno content. But anyways, as I mentioned earlier, the customer did not have any of this paint. So what I did is I just cut off a little bit of the siding behind that metal corner piece. That way it's not going to be very noticeable and I could get a color match at Sherwin-Williams. If you want to get a color match, the people here at Sherwin-Williams usually ask for the sample to be at least the size of a stamp. But if you could get your hands on a bigger sample, it's always recommended. Since I'm here at Sherwin-Williams, it's not a lot of siding that I have to paint, so I'm just going to grab these 4.5-inch rollers. And it only took them like 10 minutes to color match, and now it's time to go paint. These are the tools I'm going to be using to complete this project. I really like that Purdy pail. It also comes with these pail liners. That way when I'm done, it's easy cleanup, so I don't have to be dealing with a dirty pail. Now I'm just going to open up the paint and pour it in there. I always recommend to do this on top of plastic, that way you don't drop paint on the floor. Look, another reason why I like to use this Purdy pail is because it has a little magnet that holds my brush, and I could also use my roller. I don't just have to use the brush. That's that roller I got at Sherwin-Williams, and I'm also going to be using this little hook. This helps kind of just, hook it onto the ladder if I need to. I thought I was going to need this pole, but I ended up not using it. And as you can see, it is really high up there, so I just have to be careful. And also, whenever you're using a ladder, just make sure it's super secure. Oh, and look, remember that hook? I just hook it onto the ladder and it holds the pail. I didn't end up needing it, so it's always good to have though. And once I got up on the roof, I started to paint with my brush. I like to use my brush first, that way I could get into the corners or just places where the roller is not really going to get paint in there. I'm also trying to make sure that I don't get any of this paint on the siding that's already painted. Like I said, it does match, but it's never 100%, so you might be able to tell a little difference. A lot of the times, even if you're using the same exact paint you used to paint the house, it's not going to match 100% just because this has been through weather, the sun's been beaten down on it, so it's not 100% always going to match like I keep saying. I am going to have to apply a little bit of paint on some of these pieces of siding that are already painted. The guys who installed the siding did put a little bit of caulk on these pieces. I'm just using the corner of my brush to apply it and just feathering it out, that way it matches somewhat better. After that, I am now going to be using my roller to apply the paint. You can always just use the brush to finish up, but the roller just speeds up the process a little bit. So people are always asking me where they could get the tools and materials that I use here in the videos, and I usually say either Home Depot, Lowe's, or if you want to help support the channel at no extra cost to you, you could get them in my Amazon storefront. I also created an ebook if you want to check that out as well. But anyway, what do you think of how I've been addressing this project so far? Would you recommend I do something different, maybe different tools, materials? I'm always willing to learn, so just let me know in the comments. In my opinion, Purdy does always have some of the best painting tools. Look, this pail also has a place where I could hold my roller. I also did a couple drywall repairs for this customer a few months ago, and they were really happy with how they turned out. And now they've been calling me a lot for their cosmetic home repair needs, which I really appreciate. As long as I keep giving them great experience with my services, they're gonna always be loyal customers. Now it's cleanup time. Once I removed that pail liner, you could see it only got a little bit of paint on it. That's nothing. Then I just pour that leftover paint back into the paint can. I'm going to be using this paintbrush cover. That way my brush doesn't dry out. You can always just wrap it up with some plastic, but I like this because it works kind of like a case as well for the brush. You could see the paint's still a little wet, but the color match they did at Sherwin-Williams was really good. And that's pretty much it. Jalapeno Solutions. Boom!